Right, hi everyone. I'm back again for another video. Seem to be doing it about twice a day these days, so I guess that's good. I hope that you're enjoying the videos anyway. So what I wanted to do now is I wanted to talk about the injury to the young Liverpool player at the weekend, and I hope that he's doing okay and everything else, because poor old Harvey Elliot, he suffered an horrendous injury. He really did. So I hope that he recovers soon and that he's back playing football again really soon, and he's able to get his career back on track again, because he's just a young lad, and it worries me. It really does. Anyway, but before getting into all of that, I just want to say I hope that you're all well and that you are having a great day, and that I just want to thank you for coming in and watching my video, whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching it on playback. It doesn't matter. I just want you to enjoy it. Please feel free to put any comments into the chat box or in the comment section of the video if you're watching it on playback. I'd love to hear your views about this subject as well. But I just also want to, before we move on, say a little thing about Jock Stein, who sadly we lost on Friday. It would have been 36 years ago on Friday that he passed at the World Cup qualifying game in Cardiff. I remember that night very well. I was sitting there with my great aunt and uncle in our house. I think it was in Knockholt we were living then. And we were watching the match, and, we saw all the drama unfold. Yeah, and it was just a really sad day, because in my opinion, he was the greatest manager ever in world football. But there you go. And he taught he taught Alex Ferguson a lot. Alex Ferguson learnt a lot from him. He's gone on record and saying that on numerous occasions. So, what better man to learn from than the great Jock Stein? So, yeah, it's quite sad, really. But anyway, moving on. So the subject of this video is English football violent? Now, I've got my own views about it, but I'm very concerned about the fact that yet again today, and this happens every single time someone suffers an horrendous injury needlessly, in my opinion. All these players, ex-players, coming out and saying, "Oh yes, well, he hasn't got," talking about the player who's committed the foul. "Oh, he hasn't got that in his locker. Oh, he's not a violent player. Oh, this, oh, that." The man, someone's career has nearly been finished, and you're talking about he's done nothing wrong. In my opinion, players who commit these sort of fouls, and it's proven it was deliberate, and a lot of these fouls are deliberate, because you can't, in my opinion, I don't think it's possible. Yes, there are occasions where it is possible, and there are accidents that happen, but to cause that level of injury to someone, you'd have to do it with some level of purpose and some level of, it has to be some sort of venomous intent in it, as far as I'm concerned. we're going to look at some of the tackles that I can remember in recent years that have a lot of them have gone unpunished as well, which is like absolutely unbelievable. But what I was saying earlier, and I got sidetracked, was I think if it's proven that someone has committed a violent tackle of this nature and it's resulted in this a fellow professional being put out of the game for months on end, or in some cases like Virgil van Dijk last season, for most of the season, the player who's committed the tackle should be banned for the length of time that player is out injured for. And that is a minimum. And potentially they should even suffer a life ban, because who's going to be the next one? And also, you know, how much longer is it going to be? Is this going to remain? These sorts of tackles going to remain unpunished, right? The Everton goalkeeper who committed that assault on Virgil van Dijk last year didn't even get spoken to by the referee. It's absolutely disgusting. And like I said, the person, that Everton goalkeeper, he should have been banned from playing until the other guy had come back from injury. I'm sorry, but it's not acceptable and it needs to be stamped out completely from English football. And it's just happening far too regularly. And, you know, how long is it before someone gets killed by one of these tackles? It was just absolutely outrageous. And, you know, I just don't understand where it's all coming from. Well, in the case of Arsenal, because Arsenal seem to have suffered more of these types of injuries than most other clubs, it's because Arsenal have this reputation for having a soft underbelly, and that if you rough them up, that you're going to be able to beat them. I'm sorry, it's not acceptable. That is going too far. Yeah, get in people's faces, make it difficult for them to play. Yeah, but violent assaults on people, I'm sorry, that's going too far. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through some of them and we're going to talk about them. Right. So let's go. Let's go, people. Let's go. Yeah, so here's Harvey Elliot. Now, in the description for this video, I've put an interesting, a link to an interesting video from by a doctor on YouTube talking about the injury to Harvey Elliot and what he has suffered. You know, how the bone is structured, how the leg is structured, and what would have happened in his injury and stuff like that. So that's well worth a watch because it's very, very interesting. So yeah, that's Harvey Elliot, the young boy who plays for Liverpool, got injured at the weekend, and I've seen the tackle that guy made on Harvey Elliot, and it looks like it could have been accidental, but I don't think it was. The man was out of control. Both feet were off the ground and he went flying in 2-footed, right? And yeah, it looks like his trailing foot is the one that's caused the injury. So, but I'm sorry, you don't go off the ground 2-footed like that. And there was someone saying today that the red card the guy received who made the tackle should be reduced to a yellow card. Are you having a laugh? This kid, we've got no idea how long he's going to be out for, and they're talking about reducing the card to a yellow one. Honestly, come on, get a grip. You know, because if that's the case, I'd want to see Arsenal players going onto the field in a suit of armour, because it's getting beyond a joke. It really is. It's absolutely disgusting. And these people trying to defend these players who are making these challenges, they should be ashamed of themselves and they should be sacked, in my opinion. Mind you, you get when half of them are probably employed by Talk Sport, it's hardly surprising, is it? The amount of pundits they've got on there are either absolutely clueless who talk absolute bollocks. It's just unbelievable. You've got a comment coming from the Old School Gunner. Hi, mate. How are you? Nice to see you, Old School. I hope you're well, mate. Yeah, I'm doing good, buddy. How are you? I hope you're all okay. I'm just doing a video, as you can see, about that injury that was suffered by Liverpool's Harvey Elliot at the weekend, because I'm sick and tired of seeing these sorts of challenges every season. So I'm ground out, thanks. Oh well, I'm glad to hear that you're all right, mate. But let's move on. So, yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah. So this fella, he was off the ground, 2-footed, steaming in like that. I'm sorry, but it's just not acceptable. And never mind reducing his card from a red to a yellow. He should be out for the length of time it takes Harvey Elliot to come back playing again. It's absolutely outrageous. And yeah, so let's look at the next one. And the next one is Abu Dhabi, who got assaulted by Dan Smith. And I'm going to refer to all these tackles as assaults because they're not tackles. Let's be real about it. They were assaults. Next one is Abu Dhabi against Sunderland in 2006. And it says, do you remember the tackle on Aaron Ramsey years ago? Yeah, I'm coming to that one in a minute, mate. Or the tackle on Eduardo. Yeah, that's on my list as well. So, yeah, look, you can see that joker, Dan Smith, he's off the ground as well, and he's going in, studs up. What is wrong with these people? Honestly, it's just pure thuggery. That's all it is. And there's no, in my opinion, there should be no place for that in English football. That boy, Dan Smith, he should have been banned for life from playing football, and he should have been sent to prison because he's absolutely disgusting tosser. So let's move on. And then there's another one. It's Aaron Ramsey tackled by Ryan Shawcross. And you can see the state of Aaron Ramsey's leg. And the picture here shows Ryan Shawcross leaning over him, making out that he's concerned about him and stuff like that. No one is going to tell me that tackle wasn't done deliberately. It was absolutely disgusting challenge, and there's no place for it, in my opinion, in modern football. There really isn't. Dan Smith was a bang average player, says Old School. A player can defend better if he stays on his feet. Yeah, exactly. And he's endangering people. And basically, Dan Smith ruined Abu Dhabi's career. And that's why I would have wanted to see him banned for life and put in prison, because it's an assault. It's not a tackle. It's an assault, and that's why I'm referring to these challenges as assaults. And this tackle by Ryan Shawcross on Aaron Ramsey, and then the Stoke City supporters blame Aaron Ramsey for his leg being broken. And how the hell? Where's the logic in that? honestly, these people are just unbelievable. The fact that they're trying to blame him for having his own leg broken, it just sums up what a bunch of Muppet supporters they are. Shawcross was a Muppet. How he was a big man who always dived in recklessly. Well, yeah, but it's because he's got nothing between the ears. That's why. And he's a thug, pure and simple. And then the Stoke City supporters, every time Aaron Ramsey or used to come and play at Stoke, or I'm not even sure they weren't doing when he wasn't playing there as well. They used to sing Aaron Ramsey, he walks with a limp. I mean, how sick and depraved you have to be to sing something like that. It's absolutely disgusting. And I'd like to know what Stoke did about those supporters, because I would have wanted them arrested and thrown out the ground, banned for life from the stadium and all stadiums for that matter. And last thing we want is animals like that going to football matches. So let's see what the next one is. Then there's this challenge on Eduardo. And look at this one. This assault on Eduardo. This was a game up at Birmingham. Arsenal, I think at this stage of the season, Arsenal were like 5 or 6 points clear at the top of the table. And then after this game, the title challenge just dissolved, and Arsenal lost out in the title race. But it was absolutely outrageous challenge. That Taylor fella. I mean, the ball is below his left knee, and he's not even looking at the ball. He's looking at Eduardo's leg, so you can see that it was done deliberately. Why? And look how high up Eduardo's leg is. Put his foot. It's outrageous. The sock was the only thing holding Eduardo's leg together. Yeah, exactly, old school. It's absolutely outrageous. And again, it's another one. His career was ended virtually by that tackle. He was never the same player again, in my opinion. And the club ended up having to sell him because he couldn't perform after this. And he also suffered psychological issues because it was like a form of post-traumatic stress that he had when he walked onto a football pitch. He kept thinking it was going to happen again. So absolutely outrageous. I'm sorry, but there's no excuse for that challenge or that assault on a football field, and Taylor should never have played again after that. Never mind the sending off. So let's go to the next assault. So after that, then there's this one on Bernd Leno. Now, there are a lot of Arsenal supporters saying that Maupay didn't do anything wrong. And I remember having a massive argument with a friend of mine saying that Maupay hadn't done anything wrong either. Now, Bernd Leno was in the air and Maupay pushed him while he was in the air and he had hold of the ball. Now, I don't remember because I wasn't around. Obviously, I'm too young. But in the 50s, strikers or forwards used to be able, or any player, you used to be able to shoulder barge goalkeepers into the net. But they outlawed it and it made it illegal for that to happen. And this is exactly what Maupay did. He barged Leno while he was mid-air in control of the ball, forced Leno to land outside of the penalty area, and then he had the fucking cheek to claim that Bernd Leno had handled the ball because he was outside the area. Fucking wanker, honestly. And then Old School's saying you could see the leg was completely broken. So are you talking about the Eduardo injury, Old School? I'm assuming that you are. These these players these players are strong, Warren. They have very strong legs. They can cause serious injuries. That's absolutely right. They can. And in my opinion, they're weak to do something like that, because a real player, a real quality player, doesn't need to do it. And you don't see Virgil van Dijk going around like assaulting players, like kicking players, or like trying to break people's legs, do you? No. Sorry, weak mentality and weak in all other aspects. The only thing that they've got is the brass neck to go and make a challenge like that. But as far as I'm concerned, they're nothing better than thugs, and they should be witch hunt out of the game. So, because you wouldn't get it away with it in a game of rugby, you wouldn't get away with it in Australian rules or Gaelic football or anything. It's just outrageous. Like, for example, I used to, and I still do, really like Aussie rules football. And in Aussie rules football, they don't send people off, but you do get reported. So with the reporting, you can get sent, details of your infringement can be sent to a board, and then they will make a decision, and you could end up getting suspended for weeks and weeks and weeks, depending on the outcome of the inquiry. And Old School says they are much stronger than you or me. Well, yeah, maybe. And then Old School Gunners saying poor Leno, and Wahid Alanwar has come in with the chat. Good afternoon, Warren. The issue is the FA don't have extreme punishment for players who commits these horrendous tackles. No, they don't, Wahid. And they and they damn well should do. It's outrageous, honestly. And like I said at the beginning of the video, how long is it going to be before someone gets killed by one of these challenges? It honestly, I can see it coming. I really can. But thanks very much for your comment, Waleed. I really appreciate that. And thanks for coming in to watch the video. Malpai, like I said, he barged Leno while he was off the ground holding the ball. And Leno landed awkwardly and injured himself. Well, he got injured. I don't say he injured himself, but he got injured. And he was out of the team for weeks and weeks and weeks. He missed the end of the season and didn't come back to the following season. And he nearly lost his place as number one goalkeeper at Arsenal. In my opinion, he should have done, because I think Martinez was the better goalkeeper. But yeah, that challenge was absolutely outrageous. So, and it's just happens. It's all too common, but for me, it's because one, like Waleed said, there's no extreme punishments for players from the FA, but they need to be implemented. They do, and it doesn't help when you get these idiot pundits coming on TV saying that the players who committed the assaults don't have it in their locker. They're not that sort of player. They didn't mean to do it. Clearly, they did mean to do it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. So I've lost my track now because I've got so angry. It keeps happening. I just can't. It keeps happening as well because of this reputation that Arsenal have for having a soft underbelly. Well, sorry, Arsenal are just playing by the rules of the game. and they're expecting the FA to implement the rules of the game, the same rules of the game that apply all around the world. And I'm beginning to think that the rule book in this country is different to what it is in the rest of the world, because of the way that the referees don't implement the rules the way other countries do. I don't see any other country in the world where players on such a regular basis end up being out injured for a whole season or longer because of assaults by other players. So let's move on to the next one. Yes. Let's look at this one. Manchester United v Arsenal. The game where Arsenal's 49-game unbeaten run came to an end when they lost 2-0 at Manchester United. Now, I swear and declare that if the match had been officiated by a proper referee implementing the rule book as laid down by FIFA and not the English FA, which it should have been, then Arsenal wouldn't have lost that game. All through the game, Manchester United targeted Arsenal players, roughing them up, as they call it. Jose Antonio Reyes was subject to a number of violent assaults by Manchester United players throughout the game. And in my opinion, at least 3 United players should have been sent off. Gary Neville, Rio Ferdinand, and Roy Keane, to name but 3. And they probably could have had one more as well. Some of the challenges that went in were absolutely outrageous. And then you had Wayne Rooney diving to win the penalty for United's first goal. And Gary Neville has gone on record as saying that he admitted that Wayne Rooney dived to win that penalty. So, yeah, there you go. Then there was the tackle on Virgil van Dijk, the assault on Virgil van Dijk, by the Everton goalkeeper. And look at that one. He's off the air and he's wrapping his legs around Virgil van Dijk. It's absolutely outrageous. And he didn't even get spoken to by the referee. It's just incredible. I really can't unbelieve it. Pundits are trying to make the excuses. This is part of the game. Well, yeah, it might be in this country, but it ain't anywhere else in the world. That just shows that's part of the reason why there is this problem in this country. And then the FA is biased towards English players. Yeah, it is, because you're absolutely right, Waleed. Because if that was a foreign player doing that, if Van Dijk had tackled Pickford the way that Pickford had tackled Van Dijk, or assaulted Van Dijk, I should say, then there would have been a campaign to get Van Dijk out of English football. I can guarantee it. It's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely outrageous. So let's look at the next one. And then Roy Keane's horror assault on Inge Haaland. Now, I can't remember when this happened. It's a good few years ago now. But there'd been some spats between Haaland and Roy Keane before this match, between Man City and United. And then Roy Keane decided to take matters into his own hands. Shocking tackle on Van Dijk too. Yeah, old school, it certainly was. And now we're going to have a chat about Roy Keane. Now, I know someone who, old school, another friend of mine who's from Cork, and he was back home. I'm going to tell you this story quickly. He was back home in Cork and he bumped into Roy Keane in a pub. And he went up to Roy Keane and said, "Listen, Roy, I just want to congratulate you on all the success and that you've had." And Roy Keane turned around to him, and this just sums Roy Keane up as far as I'm concerned, because I can't stand the fella. I just think he's he's got good opinions about the game and he talks well about the game, but as a person, I don't like him at all because I think he's a thug, for one, and two, it doesn't help that he played for Manchester United. But yeah, so he said to my mate, "Oh well, don't you think I deserved it?" And then just walked off. I mean, honestly, the guy's just trying to congratulate you on your career, and you turn around and say that. What an absolute arsehole. Yeah, so this incident had a bit of history behind it because there'd been some, like I say, some spats between the two of them in the lead up to this game. And then in the game, Roy Keane, like I say, decided to take matters into his own hands, and he lunged in, and he's admitted that he did that tackle on Alf Inky Haaland deliberately because he wanted to injure him, right? And yet he was still allowed to play. Haaland was out for months, and then you can see Roy Keane stood over the top of him, and apparently he said something to him about making sure that he kept his mouth shut in future and stopped talking and stuff like that. But we got some comments here from Old School Gunner that I want to read out. Let's go. Old School Gunner. Disgraceful tackle from Keane. Keane did his cruciate and Haaland in the first game. And Haaland in the first game stood over Keane saying he was faking injury. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. And then Keane was a year out. And when he saw Haaland again, he just lost it. Well, I can sort of understand why he did lost it, but that is disgraceful. And then Haaland. Yeah, well, I can understand why. If that, and I've got no reason to doubt you, Old School, so that sort of puts it in perspective for me. But even so, you can't go around doing stuff like that. Yeah, so there's another nasty incident there from both of them, really. And that just goes to prove my point that he needs to be stamped out because it's completely unacceptable. And then the next one is Alan Shearer's assault on Neil Lennon. Now, look, you can see here that Neil Lennon stamping on Neil Lennon's head. And I think this game, Alan Shearer might have got sent off. I can't remember whether he got sent off or not. But what stands out in my memory is that the FA tried to discipline Alan Shearer after this game, and it was a few months before a World Cup. And Alan Shearer said to them, yeah, you can discipline me if you want, but if you do, I'm not going to the World Cup. I'll refuse to go. And the FA bottled it and decided not to discipline him. So that tells you all you need to know, really, about Alan Shearer. Another one who's just an absolute animal and a thug. I agree. Two wrongs don't make a right. No, you're absolutely right, Old School. And that's why it needs to be addressed, because I just think it's getting to the stage where it's at least one a season of these sorts of challenges where someone ends up getting put out of the game for at least a year. And it happens a lot to teams where there is a opinion circulating that they have a soft underbelly, and the way you beat them is to rough them up and get in their faces, and that's the way to beat them. Like it used to be like that with Arsenal when we were successful, and because it all started, in my opinion, with Arsenal was when we used to have a really bad discipline problem. We used to get players sent off all the time, and the board went to Arsene Wenger and said, look, you need to sort this out. We can't be having players keep getting sent off like this. And you need to stamp it out. And he did stamp it out. But then it led to, we had a lot of players who weren't particularly physically strong. And because Arsene Wenger wanted us to recreate like Barcelona's type model at Arsenal, and because he thought that was the way to go, and the opposition saw that as a sign of weakness and decided to exploit it by trying to kick lumps out of us, much the same way that the Dutch team did in that World Cup when Holland played Spain. And then Old School Gunners put in a comment saying Shearer shitted his pants against Keane. Coward picking on young players. Yeah, he is, and he's a thug. And all bullies are all bullies are cowards, in my opinion. So they never do it on their own. They always want to do it in groups. So yeah, I absolutely agree, mate. And he did shit his pants against Roy Keane. So yeah, it's quite an interesting comment, really, and one I completely agree with. So yeah, and that, in my opinion, that's where it all started. And I remember one occasion I got so pissed off with all this carry on. Every game, teams would come up against Arsenal and try to kick lumps out of them. I remember going into work and speaking to a couple of my mates who were Gunners and said, look, just get all these flair players out of the club and let's get a team of thugs who can play a bit. And we'll put the team of thugs out and go toe to toe with these clowns and see how the FA handle it. Because I'm telling you, I can guarantee that if we give as good as we get, we'll be the ones who will get hauled up again in front of the FA and get the book thrown at us. Because I personally think that this has been going back years, that there's an agenda against Arsenal at the FA. You only have to look at the saga surrounding Diego Maradona nearly signing for Arsenal and why it didn't happen to realise that. And Old School Gunners put in a comment saying, subscribe to Warren's channel, guys. Thanks very much, Old School. Top man. Listen to that man. He knows what he's talking about. And also, guys, please go and subscribe to the Old School Gunners channel. I'm going to be talking about his channel in a few minutes when I finish doing this. Because, yeah, he's got a really, really good channel. Does lots of really good Arsenal content. So, yeah. I'll put the link for his channel in the description. So hold on a sec. I'm gonna get it now, and I'm gonna put it as a pinned comment. Hold on a sec. Let me see if I can do that. I've not done this before, so let's try it. Yeah. So there you go. There's you see down the bottom there. There is, I put a comment in the chat with the link to Old School Gunners YouTube channel. So go and check that out. Let me see if I can pin it. I'm not sure how to pin it, to be quite honest. No, I don't know how to do that. I'll have to see if I can find out how to do that. And then Old School Gunners says, I am a top man regardless of what my wife says. I'm sure she didn't say that. I'm sure she didn't, Old School, but that's really funny. Yeah, ha ha ha. Excellent. Yeah, top man. Excellent. Yeah, so that's the link to Old School Gunners YouTube channel. I've also put that link in the description to the video, and got another comment from Old School Gunner saying, "Thanks, Warren. Irish eyes are smiling." Well, I'm glad to hear it, mate. I'm glad to hear it. Right, so moving on. So yeah, this is the Old School Gunner. Oops, hold on. This is the Old School Gunner. You can find his YouTube channel by clicking on the comment in the you can click on the link in the description of the video and go and visit his channel. He's got loads of Arsenal content and he's a good guy. He's from the same city as Roy Keane. But yeah, he's a top guy, and he really knows his football, and he knows a lot about the Arsenal. So please go and subscribe to him and go and view some of his playlists and what have you. And the other channel I wanted to talk about is the Claude and the Bansta's channel. This channel is run by two guys, one called Diesel and one called Terry, and there used to be a third one, which was Claude, until he sadly passed away earlier in the year. And they regularly have real hardcore tear-ups on their channel between Diesel and Terry, arguing about Mikel Arteta and his suitability for the Arsenal job. And they do watch-alongs and they do videos about topics or issues affecting the Arsenal and football in general, really. But it's well worth a watch. And again, go and give them a subscribe and share their videos around and like their videos. It's a great channel, really great channel, especially when they start having their tear-ups. And then Old School Gunners come in with another chat saying, "I'm a good guy." You certainly are, mate. And then I have a story, and Old School Gunner says, "I have a story about Roy." Okay, keep that one till I interview you. That'll be a good thing to talk about in your interview. And then Old School Gunner says, "Rest in peace, Claude, a true fan." Yeah, absolutely right, mate. He was a true fan. Right, guys, so that's it for this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed the video. And please remember to subscribe to my channel. Click the like button. Please share it around with all your friends, family, anyone else you can think of you think might enjoy watching it. And if you're watching it on playback, please put your comments in about your opinions about the issues that I've raised this afternoon about violence in English football. I'd be really interested to hear. And I'm interested to hear from people who don't necessarily agree with me as well, because I'm sure there are people out there who think I'm just going OTT and I'm talking nonsense. So yeah, I'm not a dictator, and I'm not gonna frown on people who have different opinion to me. So all views are welcome on this channel. Let's put it that way. And then Old School Gunner says, "Okay, I will, Warren." Yeah, please do, because that's what I want to do. I want to talk to you about those sorts of things and hear about what you think about football and funny and interesting stories that you've got. Old School Gunner says, "I enjoyed it. Respect from the Old School Gunner." Well, I'm glad to hear it, mate. I really am. And then Violent old school gunner says violence and racism. Oh dear. I hope you don't enjoy violence and racism. But yeah, it was a good, interesting thing, and it gets me really angry, I have to say. Anyway, take care, everyone. Great talking to you all. Thanks for coming in and watching the show. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to speaking to you all again soon. Take care. Oh, there's one last comment. Comes from old school gunner who says, no, I didn't think so, mate. That's just a joke. Anyway, so I'm just going to play the video out.